It was the difference in the game, right? So I thought they did a really good job. The one unit, 2 face-off goals off face-off wins, which is a really big thing, and then the other unit shot the puck. So it's a good thing. So they should feel good about themselves tonight when they leave the rink.
How do you feel about your group's overall defensive effort? I mean, 15 shots against even strength, less than 20 overall. Overall, what worked for your team away from the puck?
Yeah, I loved it tonight. I thought we did a really good job. I think for us, it's more about the pressure up the ice, I think, that allowed us to have some success. Then I thought our guys were very detailed in the neutral zone. So they did a good job with our structure and made it hard for them to get through us. And then when they did in the third period a little bit, I thought Markey was excellent.
We just had a long chat with Rasmus Andersson about some of the young players and influencing them right now. What does it say when you see him block a shot? I know they score moments later, but then the Mackenzie Weegar shift on the kill, he eats a whole bunch of blocks as well. What's the impact that has on the young players?
Well, you'd like to think that they're going to pay attention to what they're seeing. I mean, that's the first thing. And I think there's standards. And whether you're in the playoffs, if you're out of the playoffs, you have to have standards and expectations of yourself, first and foremost, and then of your teammates. That's the next thing. So if you're going to do things like that, then it's easy for you to expect someone else to do the same thing. And if you're looking to build something, those are things that are very important.
What's your reaction when that goal goes in after Rasmus blocks it and he just is too hobbled to kind of get there and close?
I was still steaming a little bit about the penalty. I don't, and we talk about young guys, there's a lesson that you learn against really good teams. So recognizing who you're on the ice with at certain times is an important thing. And then against good power plays, you don't want to give them opportunities, and they have a good power play. So, but having said that, I thought our overall game tonight was maybe one of our more complete ones of the year.
How important is Nazem Kadri? Just the hits, the offensive aggression. How important was he tonight?
He was one of our best players, I thought. I mean, he brought people into the game, and when Naz is at his best, he drags people into the fight with him, whether it's a hit or if he's going in the net hard or he's making a good play. And he seemed to find a little chemistry with Kuzi as well lately. So Pospi's been Pospi. He just does his thing when he's on the ice. But I think when Naz is engaged, he's a driver, and he sucks people into the game with him.
We've spoken about how Nazem Kadri has helped young players on the ice, in particular Connor and Martin. How would you describe him as an influence on the younger players in the locker room and off the ice?
I think what you see on the ice is what you see in the room as well. Naz is a vocal guy. When something's going the right way, he'll pat guys in the back. If things aren't going the way they should be going, he'll make sure people know it. And I think over probably his career, he's learned how to handle or tailor his message the right way to certain people, and that's part of being a little bit older or maturing or growing up, whatever you want to call it. So I think he's got a good handle on whether guys need a push or a kick or a hug.
Is there a certain value with a guy like Naz? Like, he's a guy, and you have other guys like this, but he's won in this league. You know, he's a guy who I'm sure is frustrated about where this team is in the standings. When he's setting the tone in a game that, you know, some people might look at and say, well, geez, it's sort of done for the season. Does that have a different sort of value?
Yeah, I mean, and I would put Blake in that category too. So I don't think when you have guys that understand or winning is something that drives them, or they hate losing more than they like to win, it's infectious, as we talked earlier about that. And I think with Naz continuing to play the way he's played for the majority part of the year, I think it sends a real strong message to everybody. And he's played on Stanley Cup champion teams. Blake's played on them, so they have a real good handle on what it takes to win.
It's one thing for the players to try to motivate each other when they're in a stretch like this where the playoffs do look out of reach. How's it like for you to get your guys motivated from a coaching room?
We are the same as we've been. Like, we have to, whether it's game 1 or game 72 or 73, we're pushing. We want to get them to a level where they expect the same things that we do. So, and then part of it's bringing young guys along, as we've talked about a little bit, but it's part of it is demanding a lot from your older players as well. So that's kind of where our messaging's been over the last little while.
Given his pretty profound comments tonight, just Rasmus, and a similar question, how have you seen him evolve as a leader in your time?
Well, I saw Raz when he was just a young fella. But I think for him, it's a lot of growing up too. So when I look at Raz, it's a little bit more of he wants to be a guy that's used in every situation. And early on, when you're a younger guy, everybody thinks I have to be out there for all offensive things. And why am I not out there in those situations? Well, it's as important now to him to be out at the end of a game like tonight. So I think that's where the growth in his game has come from. So he's maturing. Again, he's getting older.
What have been your impressions of Matthew Coronado these last few games?
I think Matthew's been pretty good. He's given us some good minutes. I feel like he's got a little bit of confidence again with the puck. He's made some good plays with it, yet he's still working. I feel like he's a little bit more re-energized than he was earlier when he was up with us, and maybe that's because he hasn't played quite as much, or we haven't practiced as much because of the way our schedule's been, but I feel like he's got some energy back.
I just get one more.
Sure.
We keep talking about young guys. I'm sure you heard that the Wranglers clinched a playoff spot tonight. You coach at that level. You got a bunch of guys up now. Can you just speak to the developmental importance of knowing those kids in your AHL team are going to get some playoff seasoning this year?
It's a really big thing, and it's hard to, when you look at the year that they've had, we've taken a lot of guys off their roster, a lot of guys, and for them to keep trudging along the way they have and finding ways to win, with us having taken a lot of their best players, as I mentioned, I think it's a credit to their entire staff, from Pask to Culler and all of his guys there. But to get the opportunity to play and hopefully play a long time in the playoffs is valuable for young guys. You don't get that experience anywhere else. And we've talked a lot about the American League, how important it is for young guys, and you don't have to feel like you have to rush them. It's okay for them to play there. It's even better if they get playoff experience.